Pre-show, little doo-doo, before everyone gets notified. There's even a live stream on this channel, and everyone who sees it afterwards can just skip over the past minute, or the first minute, and do the Instagram posting and all that jazz of whatever people do. Bam! Got it. Then I go to YouTube to make sure it's actually working with all the things. Then I'm gonna cringe because I hear myself singing. Okay, I really hope it doesn't come through that way on the live stream as it does here. Crap, I have to go. For some reason, my audio is really messed up on my computer, and I only discovered this last night. It was not like this before last night. I don't know what I did before last night. And just decided, hey, you want to be really buzzy and robotic for no reason? I don't know what I did before last night. Shoot, it might be the... It might be the microphone itself. That's not going to help. Gotta love doing this stuff on the moment.
Okay, how about now if I test it using the microphone built into the webcam and see if that changes anything. Okay, so now it just sounds like a 2007 video. I don't expect a lot out of the the webcam's microphone capability. Okay, that is really weird. I don't know why it would default to OBS virtual cam when there is no actual camera on OBS. It's just a blank screen with a logo. Alright, I'm going back to YouTube to see if it works. I'll just hear myself rant a little bit. Okay, that is really weird. Alright, before anything else goes wrong, I'm gonna stick with it. I literally bought this camera last night from Best Buy. Brand new, never been opened before, from the box. It didn't have a spider wrap on it, which I thought was kind of weird. Because there were two copies, and one had a spider wrap and the other one didn't, but this one, which didn't have the spider wrap, was never opened. They just didn't put the wrap on it, I guess. I literally bought this last night. I opened it up like minutes before starting this live stream, just to be sure, like, hey, it could actually plug into my computer and work, and that's fine. All I did was jostle the wire while it's still plugged into my computer a tiny bit, and then it just said, nope, you don't get any webcam, you don't get any microphone, and I had to go back in manually to add them back on. Even though I didn't unplug it. I decided to replug it after that. Why is technology so complicated? This is a $40 camera. This is a $40 webcam. It's not like I really cheaped out. It's not the highest quality thing, of course, but it's not. I don't know. Hello, everybody. Maniacs and Bricks. Happy New Year! Hope everyone has been having a wonderful holiday season, whether or not with family and friends or just having your own time to relax. And Series 25 has been showing up in stores. I actually just found these the other day in my Walmart, and luckily did not find them all torn apart like the Marvel Series 2. I guess so it's like blind boxes have already been a thing with like Video, Bandmate Series 1, Series 2, and then Marvel, and now these. But it seems the most detrimental with the Marvel ones because, hey, they're more collectible. There's a wider range of audience for that with Marvel as a license, you know? So it was more common or more expected that those things would be ripped open. And every time I went to Walmart and even a few other stores, those packs would be ripped open. I did not buy a single one of them. There was one time in Barnes & Noble where it wasn't ripped open, but it was just enough where the head could leak out of it. Like, it was just a little hole in the back of the box that you could still tell what parts were in there. So, this time around, they still have the blind boxes. Lego's still pushing that. And this time, they have little codes on the bottom of them. And apparently, these little QR codes will tell what figures are inside what packages. Now, when I went to Walmart yesterday, I didn't upload this video yet, but when I went to Walmart yesterday with the Reddit post on my phone and trying to read these and look at the packages and say, like, okay, well, which ones are in here? I did not know you had to actually scan the QR codes in order to figure out which is which. I thought it was just based off of the number surrounding the codes. I had to learn that afterwards, after I've already picked these up, and thinking, oh, now I know how to use these. So now, here's the good thing. So I did the whole rant about the webcam because I wanted to update my webcam. I wanted to actually get a webcam because I had one since, any laptop that is built in, basically. And even before that, I don't remember where my webcam is, and it's probably way obsolete. But I wanted to update the webcam either way, not just for this live stream, but for live streaming in general, for Zoom calls, for other things that I do outside of YouTube. It would be helpful for video calls in general. But here's the thing. It makes it easier for me to do this particular live stream with a webcam so I can use my phone to scan the QR codes. I originally was going to have like one of my old phones that still has a QR reader on it to, I have my current phone that's going to take the live stream and then the old phone that's going to scan. No, don't have to do that. Not a big deal. Hopefully this works out way better than that. So now, ta-da! It's me! It's me! Hello! And then I zoom back down here. Of course, it's overexposed at the moment. So now I should be able to do this while having my phone hands-free, usable in this setup. I'm still debating on actually, on this webcam itself. I believe there was one or two that I was recommended before, but this was back before I even thought about getting a webcam, so I don't remember what name or brand it was. And I literally went through Best Buy yesterday, just seeing what options there were. There was two of these that were $40. They almost had the same kind of features, and this one seemed a little bit better than the other. So I was like, okay, I'll do this one, see what happens. But if you do have any webcam recommendations, I don't care about 4K or Ultra HD. If I can get 1080p, I'm happy with that. Heck, I'm even happy with 720p on a webcam if necessary. I think this one should be able to do up to 1080. Yeah, 1080 high resolution. Yep, that's fine. So I am opening up 11 because that's all that I found in my Walmart. That's all that they had. 11 of these on the shelf, and we'll see if I get any duplicates. We'll see if any of the codes match up with what people have found through Reddit and other sites and other forums. And if there's any credence to this method, there used to be for OGs back then. You might remember that there were bump codes for the foil packs. So not this particular series, but like series 1, 2, and I think maybe 3 had little bumps along the bottom edge of the blind packs that would somewhat give you an idea as to what figure was in there. But since these were bags, you could just feel the parts themselves. That was just a more accurate method. Because I remember trying this method back in the day, and I didn't get them completely right based off of those bump codes. I remember that I even had like a separate piece of paper. I put it over this. I would use like a crayon or a pencil or something to trace over that, and then I'd be able to follow the pattern of the bumps and then match it up with what people posted online of like, oh, it belongs to this figure and that figure. That wasn't completely accurate from my experience. And again, I just feel the pack itself without ripping it open, and it would still know like 95, 90 to 100% accuracy of what was in there. There were still ones modern day that I got wrong here and there, but very few compared to back then. This different. The video bandmates, there was really no telling of it, and pretty much any time that I found them that we were already like partially opened, so I already knew going into it, hey, this is what's in here. But there were a couple of them that I just kind of like went for it because I didn't have that many, so I thought, hey, maybe good chances I would get something unique. That's the same thing with here. These are my first 11 that I've purchased from Walmart, and anywhere else really. I don't even think I've found them through other stores yet on my own. These are my first 11, so I don't have any of the series already. So there's a good chance, at best, I could have one of each, and I would just need one more to collect for that completion of the series. At worst, it could be 11 of the same one. And depending on which one that is, it could be considered good or bad to some people. But if I do have duplicates of these, I will divvy them out in some other way. Even the ones I do have individually, I do have some preferences. Obviously, the goat would be a great one to get. I would love to have the detective, the Fright Knight, Basil the Batlord. The dinosaur one, I would really want just because it would be a companion to the previous dinosaur one from Series 24. The dog groomer is cute. It's fun to have another dog mold. The mushroom one would be a fun one to go along with the acorn that was, existed before. There's a few other ones in here that I just can't even remember, let alone care much about. So we'll see how that all goes. I'm just pulling up the Reddit thread on my computer, so I have a reference as to what numbers apparently go to what figures. So that would be like, okay, I scan them, I read the number, and what does the post say, and then go back and open it and see if it lines up. Let's see here. Scrolling down a little bit more. So the other thing that's interesting is that these codes vary between regions. So I'm in the U.S. for a frame of reference. I'm looking at the Jay's Brick blog post about it, which compiles a whole bunch of other posts from TikTok and Reddit and other sources about this kind of phenomenon, if you may. So that is linked in the chat now, and I will link that later in the description and comment section of the video itself when it's uploaded separately. But in there are specific lists based on region, and the U.S. and Mexico seem to have the same codes, so I will be looking at that list going into these. Hopefully I do it right this time. All right. So if I hold this back and I scan this, I don't like what I'm looking at right now. It scanned it right away, but here's the thing. It doesn't show a full set of digits for that code. And this is for the smaller. That's the other thing that's weird. They have some smaller QR boxes and then some larger ones. I found literally all of these in the stores that were small and large simultaneously. And if you don't believe me, you check out the Instagram post that I have about this as well. Come on, let's get the lighting. Because all it scans here, it says 02218. And that does not help me. Because that's the exact same number as on the bottom of this. 02218. Or, yeah. It's not a 647, multiple digit code. These ones that are showing on the website are 7 digits long. And that is not 7 digits, and it doesn't even start with a 647. None of these, when looking at the bottom of the boxes, from what I have looked at before, start with 647. They all have all different kinds of things. They usually have R3 within them. I'm not entirely sure if that's a manufacturing kind of thing. So already I'm a little skeptical about this system. Let me see. Show options. View full text. There aren't any apps on your phone that can use this in QR code. Oh, good. And this is not even like a specific QR app that's on my phone. This is like the one that is naturally on the phone itself. So, take that as you will. If I try to search on the web, it just shows me a stock for Shenzhen Topre Solar Company. Like, that doesn't help. That doesn't help at all. Okay. Let me see if there's one with a larger QR bottom to it. Let's see if that changes anything. Okay, so this one, if I scan that, this one now has the full thing. 647. Is there a way I can save that? Because it keeps vanishing right away. But yeah, this particular box has the full size QR code. And when I scan that on my app, or when I scan that on the camera app, you can see it shows the full thing. It's got the 647 with it as well. 647-16963. So that would lead me to this being the Harpy, according to research. Let me see if I can scan it again. I want to try to get a screenshot of it. There we go. That's more like it. And it still has some other numbers to go along with it. Some of them are the same numbers as on the box. So I'll open this one up now that we have something that, could estimate what it is. And see where it goes from there. Yep. Maybe a little hard to see with the checklist in the way, but you can see by the purple and the blue that it is, in fact, the Harpy. So this one is 100% accurate, but that's just one. And anybody who does science, you got to have more than one to check. You can't just base it all off of one finding. I'm going to turn these all sideways now and see if that will just at least clear up the space here, and then go through them one by one. So this one's another one that has a large QR code underneath it. And if I use the app again to scan that, just need to focus. Okay, there we go. 647-1963. That one says, once again, it's going to be the Harpy. Now, before I go any further, I also want to look at what numbers are actually surrounding this thing on the outside of the box. So before I open up the second one, I'm just going to look at these side by side with each other. And one thing that I noticed is that there's two strands of digits. One of them that's right underneath the QR code, and one that's to the side of it, at least for the large print version of the QR boxes. Mayo, welcome to the stream. So for the large print one, it says 34513. Those are exactly the same as each other. However, there is an additional 6-digit code on the side of it that does change. I don't know if that means anything. There might be something to that, but why it's different, I'm not sure. For the top one that I've already opened, it says it's 000737, and the bottom one is 001698. So we already know we have a heartbeat. Gaming Nostalgist, so welcome to the stream. Oh, hi, Brock. Good to see you here. All right, we got another heartbeat. Watch is gonna be all heartbeats. Oops, all heartbeats. No, it's not that I don't like these, and I think I've said this in passing. The color scheme especially reminds me of the heartbeats from Yu-Gi-Oh, like on the monster cards. So I don't mind one or two of them. And I also have a friend who might actually want a whole bunch of them for their mocks. So I can always send them that way as well. But yes, we have a second one with the same figure, with the same code, and a slightly different actual number on the bottom of the box. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I just want to be sure this is a reliable method, because other things in the past have, been sort of reliable, but not entirely. Okay. Here's my next question. Do I have any more with the same 345R3 on the bottom of them? And I'm looking at them right now. I'm looking at the bottoms right here. No, I don't. There are a few of them that do still have the same numbers, so I might try that next just to see, again, if this actually works out to anything. So there are 3 of them that I have here, of these boxes, that all have the same number of 245R3 next to them. And I want to know if there's a correspondence between not just each of these having the same numbers, but like if they have the same QR codes, but also have the same numbers on the bottom of the box, so that maybe you could also tell that way of which is which if the QR code fails. Because like I said, some of these are smaller QRs. They're not as easy to read that. I'm holding my camera up to that. It does have a little square that shows around it, and if I tap on it to focus, it keeps giving me the bottom number, which is different from all 3 of these, the 6-digit number I talked about. So that does not change it. So these, I cannot actually read them according to my specific QR reading of my phone. I don't know if there's better methods or if there's other apps that read that kind of stuff. It's weird that there are 2 different sizes as it is. But I digress. I'm still going to try this hypothesis of, all of these that have 245R3 are going to be the same exact figure, whatever that figure may be. But they should be different from the heartbeats because they don't have the same number, that same 5 digits of number. They should be the same of each other, but not of what I've already opened. That's my hypothesis. So let's find out. By the way, for reference after this, all the other ones after that do not have the same digits. There are no other groupings that I can make out of this based off of the numbers off the top of the box or bottom of the box, and they all have the smaller version of the QR codes, so it's much more difficult to read them. And we'll see how that goes. We'll see if that changes anything. So yes, I am basically opening these as blind as possible, which is something that I'm not a fan of. And over the years, I didn't really want to open these entirely blind. I mean, the first couple in the series, it's fine because best probability of any unique ones. But if I do want to collect the whole series at some point, I don't want to get a whole bunch of duplicates. Okay, so for this one, got a little extra cardboard thing in there. for some fabric. And underneath here is our detective. Nope, the base plate's blocking it, but yeah, you can see right there the detective. I also thought, hey, with the webcam here, it's easier to see. No camera tricks, no movie magic. I'm just doing this straight up. I do amateur video as it is, so I think it's easy to say, hey, you can believe what I'm showing you on screen. I'm not trying to manipulate this or script this in a way separate than, the natural surprise. So we have a detective that is different from the Harpy, not the Barbie. Still gotta see the Barbie movie. I'll get to it at some point. Oh, this is not good. Oh, you cannot rely on those. Okay, so it turns out the Harpies was just a fluke that they were all the same QR code and the bottom box number thingy. I don't even know what this thing is called. This thing right here. That's because we have ourselves a mushroom. They both have the same number on the bottom, but they are both different figures entirely. Detective and mushroom. Not the same. So what does that mean for this one? It could be one of these two, or it could be something completely different. That means I'm throwing caution in the wind for the next 7 of these to open. There's no telling at that point what it'll be. And unless there's a QR reader that can get like that really tiny one available, we shall see. I'm a miss. Consider it busted. Exactly. I really do feel like a Mythbuster. Obviously, because of the square nature of the package, I can't feel the pack. I can't tell what pieces are in here. There's only so much you can do just by shaking it without opening it. And, of course, there are weight guides as well. I did that with the last series as well. I didn't bring a scale with me to the store. I didn't even know I was going to go into this because I saw the QR thing, like, only yesterday. So I was like, oh, I guess I could try that now. But I didn't think about, like, hey, I should do these on a scale or something. If I wanted to do the weight thing, I guess technically I could still do that here. I don't even know where my scale is. It's probably buried in the corner or something. And I also don't know how accurate the scale is. Oh, okay. So 2 of these with the same number on the bottom have the mushroom cap kit. Okay. So 2 of these that say 245R3, well, the rest of the numbers after that are different, are the mushroom cage. I don't care what the names are, even though it says it right on the screen here, mushroom spread. And then the other one, that's 245R3, is the Film Noir Detective. That's the official name. Consider that. So even just by going by these numbers on the back, does not guarantee you're going to have the same figures. I would love to have at least 1 goat. I'm not trying to stockpile goats or anything, but if I get 1, that would be great. But like I said before, there's other ones I would like to get, like the Fright Night. Oh, so I didn't look at the number on this one, but I'm opening it right now anyways. 145R3. So it's literally just the first digit that was different from what we saw before. And this is the train guide, the train kid. You see right there. Boom, 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 boom. All in the same frame. So that one, again, I don't know what to go from it. And I can basically use this video to say, hey, these are what I got for these numbers. Nathan, way to join in at the right time to get the train boy. Absolutely. Because I know that's one it's been looking for. Yeah, we could talk about it later, but I don't mind that if we take off the mushroom. I got 5 more to open. And this one is 344R3 for reference. If I get one of these as a duplicate that has a different number, then all bets are off on I'm relying on that number method. Again, I would have gone with the QR codes if I could read them, but I don't know if there's like, it's strange that there are 2 different sizes, and my app doesn't read the first one. Maybe I should have brought this to work. Imagine if it could read a QR code that small at work. I would be amazed. Okay, so this one is a barbarian. It's a barbarian, and there you see the hair, you see the sword, the dark brown outfit. 344R3 is a fierce barbarian. It's making a really good like jump cut version of this video, of this stream. It'd be like, oh, you know, getting right to it. Honestly, I'm just peeling the open by this point. 543R3. We have a dinosaur. You know, I'll just open up more of it. I don't want to completely tarnish the packages. I want to have at least one of them in good shape, but that's just me. And this is not going to work in this method unless I got a pair of scissors, which scissors. I know. Dinosaur. Stegosaurus. What is it called on here? Triceratops. That's the right one. Triceratops costume fan. It's 543R3. This almost does remind me of when I did Series 24 last year, because I just threw caution to the wind and bought a whole bunch of them because it was like, I didn't have any already. I have a whole bunch at the same time right now. So just get those out and work out the duplicates later. Well, that's another way of opening it, I guess. So this one, here we go. Same figure as what we had before, different number. So this is 744R3. And it's the train boy. Or train kid. And if you recall, our last train kid is in one of these boxes. Probably underneath. There we go. That one right there. Our last train kid had a different number on the bottom of it. You can see right there. 145R3 and 744R3. And yet they both yielded the same figure. Right there. That's more like it. So I don't think you can really trust those kinds of number codes. Because it's not like, oh, if you have this number, you will get this figure. Because we can see two different ones yielded the same figure. Maybe there are two different codes per figure. I'm not sure. It's literally like the lottery. You try to line up the numbers, you're just off by one or two, and you either get what you're looking for or you get something shorter than that. And heck, for scratch-offs, for me, for a long time, I've had scratch-offs. You know, my family would gift them for the holidays. The scratch-off ones, it's like, oh, you need number 14 to match, and you only have like 13. It's like, so close. Okay, so our next number, 144R3. That's slightly off from what I just opened, 145R3. And what figure does it give me? A harpy with a piece that just flew out. Where'd it go? Did it fly out? Yeah, the base plate. Where'd it go? I heard it. You saw it. I'm sure it'll turn up in a second. Yeah. Harpy. We already have two of them that have the same exact number, the same exact QR code. This one, different number. There you go. So I am up to 3 harpies. I expected at least 2, but okay, 3 are here. And last but not least, we have 743R3. I could crack this open and find out, ooh, this looks different already. So 743R3 is our sprinter. And if you're not familiar with this printer, this is one I actually do want a little bit more for Bizarre Lego purposes, or just that category of Bizarre Lego purposes, because you have the double prosthetic legs on here. That's fantastic. I think only before they only had one, but not the other, as far as legs that were prosthetic. So now you have both of them available. So if you want to have a figure with both, this is honestly the better value with it, because you could split this up to have one figure with one figure with the other, or you just keep it as both. But you know, the only difference would be you just always keep them as medium measure legs. But the point still stands. So there we go. The QR codes, semi-reliable, because I only had 2 of them I could properly read. And then the rest of them were just really tiny and undecipherable to my phone, but that doesn't mean you can never read them. I'm sure there are different QR apps, and maybe some of them could read better than others. Probably different even camera types on phones or other devices that could read better than others. For my purposes, unfortunately, that is not the case. And I just found that faceplate from before. So I'll put that back over here. Okay, so what does that leave me? I have 2 trains, 3 harpies, and 2 mushrooms, and a bunch of unique ones. I guess I should probably build them. I'm on live stream. Why not? Right now? Why not? Oh no! Ow! Ow! Oh, I hit my hand on the table. Oh man. Man, that was a spot that already had an injury earlier this week. And almost fully healed too. Cat scratched me. Not my cat, someone else's cat, but whatever. I do like the different hairpiece on this. I do like the fact they have alternate faces. It's nice having 2 ribbons or medals, but also this medal has been in a build a minifigure thing within the past year. Not that. It's also been like itself around for a long time, so it's not really a brand new piece. The most again, I would love to do the "is this worth $5" aspect of this, which I've done before with Series 24. So, is this worth $5? For some parts. I think there are some things in here that are good to have that are brand new, and some things that could be resourceful. It is fun that they use the nameplate, like, the running nameplate on both sides, that it says 2024, hence the year these are released and available. And the BIB, I'm assuming, is probably the minifig designer's initials. That's usually what they do. They'll put the minifig designer or a Lego designer into it for some kind of naming of the figure. So you have some that are just randomly named Kel. So here's our checklist. Well, bam. And the other side of putting everybody together, or at least the more complicated ones. So with this one, $5, just barely. I want to say that's maybe $4 worth. It's that if I were to say, like, what else would it need, I would say probably another accessory, something else that's unique about it, maybe a trophy, maybe even a micro trophy like they've done in the past. Like, that would still be a good additional thing to go with this. See, my problem is that the high bar was set in 2021 when you had that one, I don't know what the name of the figure is, but there was a minifigure that was like a surfer and had a life jacket and a dolphin. Like, you have a giant animal in there, and that's already like a high value, bang for your buck kind of thing. So this one, I'm saying it's about $4 in value, even though you do have some new parts. And, obviously the printed brick is good, but that's also a brick you could find it pretty much everywhere. Even though the print itself is unique, it's like, oh, well, it's not like you never had a number 1 brick before in anything, whether or not it's a 1x2. Star Wars Quest box, yeah. I've been going back to the the seams, getting all those stuff together. Okay, sprinter is down. I'm going to build one of the train, and the other one I'm just going to leave on its own. Got a lot of little parts to it, which it's like the dots effect. You have a lot for not a lot of money, but each part is little, so it really doesn't have a huge production cost to it, or they're really common. So this being a brand new piece is cool. It's got two wheels on the sides, the faux wheels in the middle, so you can fit the legs around it. It's got a couple of different attachment points on the top, front, and sides. A little bit on the sides. I don't know if the windows could really attach, but I'm sure you could fit something in there. People have done strange things with Lego pieces, so I wouldn't be surprised. Your regular cart wheels sitting on the side here. I love these things. Now, without the train, to show the boy for himself, so he uses the same newspaper boy kind of cap from the previous year, but in a different color. So that's good, a recolor. You have the legs that are, I think those have been released in that color of blue before. You have the new prints for the head, the torso, and some back printing as well. No back face. I do like the eye patch on there. I don't know the exact term of it, but I've seen that before, even when I was a kid. I knew someone in school like that, so I like that that's included. And then if I put all this together, the dish piece is printed. It says 25 on it. For the series 25, that makes sense. We've got a little cap on top of it. And then this fits along the back of the train. And here's the full figure. That looks pretty proper. And I think you could still adapt this without the minifig just fine. There is they did have the boat one, the boat costume in BAM recently, if I remember correctly. I don't remember if it's the same colors or different, but still, it's a fun little idea that started back in Series 18 or back in 2018, I should say, with the costume party figures. So you do also have an additional 25 dish piece, the plume, the stud with a hole through it, and a round tile. Would this be worth $5? Kind of. I mean, the train itself is being a big mold, kind of carrying most of the weight of this thing. The hat, could still be useful beyond this. You still have the train uniform itself. You could still make another adult engineer out of this just fine. So I would say this is very resourceful. I still want to say it's about $4 value, give or take. But with the extra pieces in here, I think it's just pushing the fit. And if you think otherwise, then feel free to let me know, because I could, just one person's opinion. I may have been around Lego for a long time, but hey, I may have a little preference of something, or I may, see something more than another than other people would. That's fine. The detective has the felt pieces in his own box. That is a good thing, and I think that's something they could have really still done with the foil packs of CMFs. Didn't have to necessarily be because of the boxes, but it does help, because other ones in the past would have capes. Sometimes you have the plastic capes would have a little piece around it, and that kind of stuff. It's like, oh well, it could get damaged or bent from moving around in the package itself before opening it. Hollow said, thank you. That's what I was thinking of. Okay. Moving on from there, let's build up. The red herring is definitely, I think myself and other people give that too much credit as an additional thing. that, oh my gosh, it's a red herring, like a detective, you know. I like it. I like it a lot. I like that attention to detail. It's a simple recolor of an existing accessory or animal, however you prefer it, but it adds so much more to what this thing is, or it adds more character to it, you know? And that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy out of these, out of some of the collectible minifigures, is when you just have something as simple as a recolor that could be valuable on its own. When they don't have these parts available elsewhere, or like, you know, created in any other color at all. Like I'm pretty sure I thought about that last year with the Newsy Beret. It's like, why did they make a new one? They could have just used an old one just fine, unless they're going to make more colors of it. And here we are. We have another color a year later. Now I'm going to say the same exact thing about this fedora, because this is a really nice, slick-looking hat. I love the way this thing looks. I like how it's different from previous hats, and it'll definitely carry with it more than what the other ones can do. Rick Foster, welcome to the stream, buddy. Happy New Year. But I do hope they make this in other colors. It's cool in gray. Gray is still a versatile color, but you know, you can still have it in black. You can still have it in reddish brown, maybe dark brown, and it could still be useful. I do have preference about this figure, of course, but what I say, this is worth $5. We have new prints for head, torso, legs. We have a new color of the fish in just plain red, or at least it's a less common color because I don't remember seeing it anywhere else before. You have the magnifying glass, which does work, but it is also a very common accessory. Not a brand new thing, but it's a useful thing nonetheless. You do have the new part of the hat, and you have the new felt piece of the collar of his outfit. It does also have some back printing. So those are cool things. Again, I might be begging for more. I would have liked it if there was a 1x2 or a 2x2 tile. Maybe a 1x2 that could be a notebook, you know, because it'd be something that he could scribble on or carry around with like evidence or suspects. 2x2 tile could be like a newsprint. It could be a new newsprint. You know, that could also be solving a mystery or something like that. This is fine for what it is. I still would have liked something else. My bar is set really high though. So I would say this is probably about a $4 figure. If this was released in an earlier series that was $4, yeah, I can totally see that. There's nothing about this increase of price that really adjusts anything to this figure itself. You know what I mean? So yeah, red herring is something that I learned as a kid through a pup named Scooby-Doo. There was a character named Red Herring, and he was always the scapegoat. He was always the first thing that Fred Jones would suspect of any mystery. And there was only one or two times where he actually was not only involved with it, or like actual like suspect, or you know, the one who perpetrated it. so yeah, red herring is a type of fish. They literally have them in red. That's the whole thing here. So, you know, the phrasing itself being, you know, an unwarranted, you know, guess, or, you know, jumping to a conclusion that isn't fully, you know, backed up, if I understand that correctly. So yeah, that is great that it's there. Mushroom time. Mushroom dance. I do like the butterfly in this one. I will give it that right away. But it's not something I can say, oh, this is valuable on its own. They have printed butterflies in one of the Friends sets that came out this past year, 2023, the Observatory. There was like a whole bunch of them in that set. If they have the same one, that gives this even less credence to being a unique thing. It's not like other series where it's like, oh, they had a hermit crab, and they never put that hermit crab out in anything else. And that's been like, I can't believe I have to say this, that was 3 years ago. That's, you know, it was weird. Feels bad, man. There we go. Simpler build. So we do have a new piece on the mushroom head itself, the mushroom cap. It also does have a connection point on top of it for mini pigs. So minifig accessories or mini doll accessories can fit up there if you wanted to make a bow or something on it. If I take the plume from the train kid, that could fit on there as well for whatever purpose you need that for. Denote authority or something. Only accessory is a butterfly. Okay, it does have some nice colors to it, but could have had a little bit more. I like a fantasy figure, but give me a little more to work with. I'm pretty sure that the acorn, I don't know what his name is, but the acorn guy from the last series had a little more accessories. Yeah, it actually had like a little, buildable mushroom with eyes on it, and a cape, and like that looks like a leaf, and a stick. Even if the stick is just a basic 3L bar, that's something, you know? So much more unique of a figure. And that acorn is also available on BAM too, from what I remember, like the past month or so. Like, that's great. Yes, you technically get an animal with this, being a butterfly. I'm really trying to weigh everything back and forth. Okay, so it wasn't the last series, it was series 22, but whatever. It was the previous series, that's what I meant to say. I'm going to look right now, out of curiosity, through Bricklink, if this butterfly, in its exact colors, exists already. Butterfly with stud holder, similar to butterfly with stud holder. No, that's a different one, apparently. Let's go back. Let's see, part. A lot of butterflies, that's okay. I see a bunch of different colors of butterflies, so they do look nice. Even if I don't own them, I still appreciate that they exist. There are a couple of them that used to be used in Friends that were just stickers that we just put onto like a slope, some rock formation or whatever. Let's see, 3 sets. The Botanical Garden, that's what it was. I keep calling it an observatory because I think, oh, you could rebuild it into an observatory, but it's not. Okay, so black butterfly with stud holder with blue wings and white spots pattern. That already exists. And that is the only butterfly listed in the set that is in black. They made a duck in dark orange? That looks cute. I do really like the look of that set. I have not looked at it well enough. And I know Jay had a glowing review about it. And I think it might be on discount now. I'm not sure. I thought I saw it like knocked down a bit in price. I'm just looking further down to see if there was any counterparts to this butterfly. If that color may have already been there. Nope. Okay. So, from what I've researched, at least within this set, but possibly in any other set, you know what? Let me try another way. I'm going to go to color guide. I'm going to black. I'm going to look for butterfly. See what pops up. 3 parts. And only one of them is the actual butterfly animal, and it's the one I listed before. It has blue wings and white spots. So this one is a new butterfly, new pattern on that same piece. So I could give it that. Toad School Creature could go well with the Bricklink Designer or Mario Mushroom Houses. That's a good point. And honestly, you could just basically turn this minifigure into a large mushroom with the right parts. You just get like a plain white minifig head or even like a tan minifig head, and it could just be a giant mushroom. So So value on this one, I'm wondering about the skirt piece too. It's like not the fabric skirt piece. What do they call it? Who else had this thing? Well, if I look for it by color, I'll look for white. Skirt, 81 parts. Most of these say they're skirt patterns, not a separate piece, or it's the fabric version of it, or it's a larger skirt. I don't know, maybe the skirt isn't the right word. I don't know what it's called though for this. It might, no, that was a fabric one. Let me try skirt minifigure, see if that changes anything. Yep, here we go. Minifigure skirt plastic straight short. It does not already exist in white. It only exists in black, dark pink, dark purple, dark turquoise, medium blue, and yellow. So this is also a new color of that piece. Again, I feel like this might be a $4 figure. Like, it does have some recolors that are good, but that's something you could say for a lot of CMFs. It does have some brand new parts, which you can say for a lot of CMFs. But the wow factor for a $5 figure just doesn't seem to be there for me. Even if you have the short legs with two tone colors, you have two different faces on this figure. I forgot to mention that earlier. But the faces look very similar to ones we've seen before. Like, I guarantee this is almost the same exact design, and they just put more rosy cheeks on each side of them. And without the hat, you can see there's a little bit of eyebrow. See a little bit of eyebrow there. So, I don't know. I'm still leaning on that this is a $4 thing. If it had, again, I would love to see another accessory. I would love to see something that's more versatile out of the package that each of these figures can do, that is available to them. The train costume one, I can give a little bit of leniency just because you have a bunch of extra parts to it, and most of the costume figures are just the costume without anything else with them. I say most. So onto the Barbarian we go. And I'm not going to give my bias about the new piece because it's just a recolor of a Dream Sword, even though I do like that. And I do like that it could be more versatile for other things as this Pearl Dark Gray sword. It's kind of a unique figure. See, the problem that I have with this one is that it reminds me a lot of a previous collectible minifigure that I think was just called Warrior Woman back in like Series 10. Yeah, Warrior Woman Series 10. It's not exactly the same in terms of design or aesthetic, but it feels similar. Hard to say. This is like a completely standing up design. It is something that could integrate with other things just well, but it's not one I was really anticipating or looking forward to, besides the sword piece itself being in a new color. You do have the hair piece that is, I believe, a new mold, and if not, then a new color at least, because I don't think I've seen it in red before. You do have two faces, and I do like alternate faces on these CMFs in the $5 range. That does give a little bit more value to them. And you have one with like actual like markings all across her face, a more like war paint kind of thing. You have the printing that's not only on the arms but also on the legs, so it's a little better quality wise, even though there's no other accessories to her. It's kind of the drawback. Like, you have more printing across the figure itself, but you don't have anything else carried with her. Not even another piece to put onto the sword or anything. A shield would have been nice. Maybe another weapon. When I look at this, I think of the Falconer, and that's a similar fantasy warrior woman. It also has red hair, just by chance. But again, that one had a fabric piece to it. That one had a whole animal with it, hence the name of Falconer, aside from being about a black falcon figure. Also had two sides of the head, but that was a little more plain than this one is. Also had printing across the arms and legs. I'm still seeing $4 on this. I really think if there was another something, it would be better. But I can understand like where that pro con comes in. That's probably the case for a bunch of these. The pro con is just, the figure is more detailed, even if it doesn't have another thing carried with it or built with it. Thinking about doing a historical video about obscure bizarre Lego. People want me to do more history videos. I'll talk with you later, but project done good. Thank you. I appreciate that. And there's plenty of documentation that I have not published yet. Obviously, the book itself is still underway. But there's plenty of other material that I have not even briefly talked about with people, or I've only hinted at on some social media, where it's like, yeah, that's weird, and it falls under the radar. All right, dinosaur time. Got our Stego. No, Triceratops. Right? I'm getting the name wrong. Triceratops, yeah. So this one is very similar to the T-Rex costume that was in Series 24. It has the same kind of tail piece. It still has printing on the sides. It's got a unique head mold or, headpiece to make it its own figure. It's got a unique color, I'll give it that. The olive green looks really nice here. I'm going to pull up that figure while I'm thinking about it. Obviously, looking for Rex on Bricklink is not easy because it now brings up a lot of Rex Dangervest and Captain Rex from Star Wars. All right, there we go. This figure has two sides to its head, just like that one does. It is the same exact tailpiece in a different color and different patterning. It does have some printing on the side, as well as the legs and on the back. So it's pretty much in the same field as that earlier figure. If you like that one, you'll like this one as well. Couldn't have given me a bone, a plant, right? Because aren't Triceratops are herbivores, aren't they? Triceratops would eat a diet that primarily consists of leaves. Yeah, there's no extra plant piece. It could have been just like a generic, a regular color plant piece, but would have been a little more exciting, a little more character to it. Imagine it being like not just a costume for like think of it like a costume for Halloween or like a cosplay. It's like, yeah, you want to have a prop with it. You want to have something else to go with the character. To accessorize it. I can understand with the train, kind of difficult to put something else in their hands and not block their face entirely. But still, yeah, I don't know. With this one, I'm seeing $4. So far, all of these have felt like $4 figures. And I'm not saying that just because the goat is obviously the $5 figure because it's the most coveted animal of all of Lego-dom. Oh, that's another mushroom. Okay, so that means I only have one more unique one to build, and that will be the heartbeat. I'm going to harp on that one, too. Yes, I had to make that joke. Now, this one I actually am a little excited as far as the recolors of pieces in purple, and it's in the same mentality that I have with like Nexo Knights. Some of those recolors in purple were actually really cool. I may have not owned them, but I like that they exist, so I could still own them later. The purple clips are really nice. That could be useful for a bunch of things. And I can't think of the last time I had purple clips on anything like these particular 1x1 clips. I do like the fangs, or talons, I guess would be the right word. He only has one face. Okay. You do have a unique hairpiece that goes on the back, which I guess is why they only have one face. It still has a lot of it open on the back. The wings are the same wings as Chima. I don't think they really changed the mold at all. But it's surprising that they still have the mold, even though Chima's been gone for a while. And the only extra piece in here is an extra claw piece. Extra Pro Gold claw, which can be useful to some things. I don't think that one's been made before in that color, if I recall correctly. I'm going to look up Wolverine. None of the Wolverine minifigures show him with the claws, so I'm going to have to look up the CMF. Include them with it. Not going to lie. I may have not cared that much for Marvel Studios Series 2 in terms of collecting them, like as the box sets were out, because I only bought one of them, and that was the one that I bought only because I knew what was inside of it because it was already opened. It was Echo. I bought that one because of the leg piece. I don't even know the character. I will give it this. I do like the look of some of these other characters, even if I don't know them that well. Or if it's a what-if scenario where it's like a different version of it. Storm looks really good. Wolverine is probably my favorite out of them. Just like a really, like, 100% proper looking Wolverine. It's not like cutting corners like other ones, or like the $85 set one. That's disappointing on so many levels. They do have other X-Men in here that I just don't recognize. She-Hulk, I only just heard about, and Moon Knight, again, I know they have TV shows, I just don't know much about them beyond that. And there's an Ant-Man figure in here, I think. If I look at this series again. Goliath. Well, it looks like Ant-Man. I don't know. Is the little one supposed to be Ant-Man? Okay, so it is. That is cool. Even though they've made one like that before, but I still like that it's here. Yeah, I can't even tell you what some of these other ones are. I may have seen Beast and Werewolf in passing before, but I haven't watched X-Men since like X-Men Evolution. I didn't even watch it in the live-action movies or any other TV shows or the infamous or not infamous, the popular X-Men show. The one with that theme. I don't know. X-Men isn't really a thing I touched. Fantastic Four, neither. So Harpy, talking back about that. I'll probably have to rewatch your old videos when I'm writing the scripts because of how good you died. Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like some documentation could have been better. Like the Modulax video I made did have some off-script narration to it. And for some reason, that's a thing that I've done. Every time I write a script for a video, I'll still interject another word or phrase or something while reading the script, while recording it. It doesn't make any sense. That's kind of the point of the script, is I find the words that I want to say, and I just read it through as it is. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, okay, that could have worked better. Like in the Modulax video, I think I stutter a little bit while doing the off-script thing, and it's like, no, didn't have to do that. Just stick to the script. Or rewrite the script. That's the other option. Nobody but me is the one that's is doing it. Everyone's voiced their opinion about the X-Jet and roasted it. I'll probably roast it on my live stream later. Yeah, I look at that thing and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get the price of it, obviously, but I don't even get it as a vehicle set. Like, I feel like it could have had something more, even though I don't know the X-Men that well. And they have made an X-Jet before, if I remember correctly. No, they haven't. Okay, there was something that looked like an X-Jet that I think I've seen them release before. X-Men versus the Sentinel is the name of the set. It looks like the X-Jet, though. And I can see how it's a little more of a dated design, but I don't know. Never owned either one of them. But if I had to look at them and say which one would I rather play with, it's weird because the new one has a lot more dark blue, some yellow, some trans red. The old one, it's dark blue, regular blue, black. So it's like all in the same field, and yet, I don't know. I'm surprised they didn't make a new Sentinel. They just had the head used in the Wolverine figure. And that old Wolverine for its time was good. The dark brown one that was in the X-Men Sentinel set. That one was good for its time. But if I had to choose a Wolverine, the only one I've ever owned was Wolverine Chopper Showdown, and I don't think I own that one anymore. And he looks really good there too. Again, for the time he was released. But if I had to choose one nowadays, it would be the CMF one. It feels the most complete. Cyclops. For what little I know of X-Men, I feel like Cyclops was missing something. I feel like it could have had like a proper belt piece or just a different color to the hip line to make that a little more less jumpsuity. Let's put it that way. Jean Grey Phoenix looks great. Magneto, I think some other people said didn't need to look like that. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk Harpy, because I keep getting on tangents. So we have double-sided printing on the torso. We have printing along the sides of the arms, which does match up very nicely with the rest of the figure. I do like the way that it kind of bleeds the dark blue from the arms and legs into the torso. Matches up nicely. The purple is mostly just within the head, hair, and wings. And then you have like a dark pink or whatever. Well, not dark pink. Lavender? I don't know. Colors in LEGO are complicated now. And apparently I just read an article yesterday that there are 2 more color releases this year. And it's like, I can't even tell you what colors they are than everything else. So this one looks decent. I don't know on the color scheme itself is what intrigues me. Because in the mythological sense of a Harpy, would that be a proper way of coloring them, or are they just making it very kid friendly? Let's see. Harpy, Greek mythology. I'm just doing a plain Google image search here, and it does have a whole bunch of illustrations that don't have any color to them at all. But both of them seem to be more real world, let's say. The colors are more muted than this one. They're not as bright, flashy, or anything like that. There's maybe one of these I've seen here as fan art that has some of the light blue in it, but not the dark blue or the purple. Actually, it's more orange than purple. Yeah, I realized I also could have just been sharing the screen here too. That could have helped on any one of these. My bad. Share screen. There we go. Yeah, looking across here, when if there's supposed to be just a standard depiction of a Harpy, it seems to be more brownish in color than this blue purple. Maybe that's why it seems so gaudy to a lot of LEGO fans. It's like, oh, why that? All right, no problem, Mayo. I'm pretty much wrapping up here anyways, but thank you for joining, and take care. I don't think it's a bad figure by concept. I really do like when LEGO puts in more mythological figures in their series. We've had centaurs, We've had Minotaurs. We've had Medusa. All good things. Even soldiers, you could argue that the barbarian could probably fit within that same realm of a harpy. There's someone's depiction of a Lego harpy. This is from way back, I guess. If I open that separately, 2011. Nicely done. That's funny. They just literally rip the wings off, or they rip the arms off, and then just stick with the mummy wings. Nicely done. Yeah, another one here that's in purple. Okay, that's fine. Now, if I look up Harpy Yu-Gi-Oh, that's where I see a lot more of the flashing colors. That's where I see more brightly associated colors. I don't know if that's because it's more common, more popular, or anything like that. I don't know if that's just the designers thinking, hey, that'll be more appealing. And the color scheme would definitely separate it out from other figures because they already have a whole bunch with reds, reddish browns, browns, dark browns, and so on. That's fine. But I don't know. Every time I look at this figure, I just think of the ones from Yu-Gi-Oh. Those bright colors, along with the context and shape of like the colors, and everything. That's what I see. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, how much more could I get out of this figure in its color scheme with that in my mind already. But like I said, I have a friend who does already want a bunch of these, so this benefits them. They're interested in it. More power to them. I do like that these talons are included for the hands and not just making them plain hands. The new hairpiece is good. It does have some. Obviously, there's no accessories to go with this figure, but it has more to build with it. That's kind of where I'm giving my credit right now, is that you actually have a little more like structure with it. And the unique legs, which have only been used a handful of times before, possibly even less than a handful of times actually. Those are nice in here as well. So I want to say this is on the verge of $5. I don't know exactly what could be included with this to make it better, to make it more worth that. I don't know the mythology of harpies that well, in order to say, oh, it should have this because that's a thing associated with it. Maybe I'll just watch her OSP after this. Austin believed to be personification of storm winds, feature in Homeric poems. That would be fun if it was just had like a little, I don't know, tile with a poem next to it. Pottery art depicting the harpies feature beautiful women with wings. Could be the pottery. Just scrolling through Wikipedia to get some sense of like what could be reached out there, what more could be added to this, if anything. I can't read that out loud, but that's funny. Yeah, those are both funny. I'm trying to scroll through here to see if there was like anything else, even on a vague mainstream kind of level, that could be included with it, just to get it a little more interesting. I should read Dante's Inferno. It's mentioned in here apparently. I'll give him points for the thought of it. I don't know. Give him an 8. a bird, right? Birds lay eggs. I'm just being silly. All right, so our verdict, our conclusion, if it may, is that the QR codes, from my experience, from my device, cannot be read on the bottoms of these packs because they're too small. But the only ones I have been able to read by chance were the same exact figure. And then we had one with a different number with an unreadable QR code that was the same figure as well. I have 3 harpies, 2 train kids. I have 2 mushroom sprites, one Triceratops costume fan, 1 fierce barbarian, 1 sprinter, and 1 film noir detective. So that's how many of the figures in the series? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7. So I'm missing 5 of them is what I'm saying. That's not bad. That's good for random picks of these packs from Walmart. Out of 11 of them, I have only 4 of them that are duplicates. I can live with that, especially when I know that there are other people who have contacted me before to say, "Hey, I'm looking for these, and if you find them, we'll do something with them." So I don't feel like this is I don't see this as a complete loss for me. But that QR method does make me feel questionable about getting more of them in the boxes as they are. It's something that I have been contemplating for the past couple of series, for the past couple of years. If I even want to do this kind of chase anymore for the collectible minifigures. And, pretty much since the advent of the video blind boxes, it's made me wonder about that, where it's like, this is starting to get in a less advantageous way to the consumer. You have the price increase of the figures themselves, and a more elusive way of hiding the figures, therefore giving them less chance of getting what they want. What would make sense in my mind is you have something that's inexpensive but difficult to cipher until you open it. But if you increase the price, then you have it easier to discover what that figure is. That's not quite the case with collectible minifigures. It hasn't been the case for a long time, since they've increased it from $2 to $3 to $4 and now to $5. It's basically, the increase of price is to warrant the licensing cost for a whole bunch of them being licensed series, or the quality of the figures themselves. The value is still, in my opinion, questionable at best, or just underneath what I'm looking for. But the quality of the figures, I can say, has improved a bit throughout the past couple of series. Series 21, I definitely noted that improvement when that was the first one to introduce it as a $5 figure pack. You have the Looney Tunes series that followed after that, where it's not only brand new molds, but being a license, and they still had accessories that fit right with the characters. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. And you had a couple extra pieces to go with them. This series, I can't really say so far that out of the 7 of 12 that I've gone through, that it really continues that trend, especially for them being numerical figures, or, not licensed figures. There is some increase in quality of the figures themselves, where they might have more alternate faces, they might have more parts, but not all of them. And there were some that we have seen in the past that definitely offered more pieces per figure. Like, I'm looking right now at the Marvel one that I skipped over entirely, and each one of those has an accessory, almost 2 accessories each. I think only one or two of the figures only have 1 accessory each, but they still have unique pieces to go with them. Some of them have an animal with it, some of them have a small build to go with it. I'm actually impressed that Beast has this really tiny microscope that, only takes like 4 or 5 pieces to build. It looks good. If I go back to series 23, Trying to remember which two. Oh, that was the holiday costume more associated one. So they had a lot more emphasis on costumes on some of the series 23, 22, I think had that. But there felt more versatility with some of those as well. Like the knight, you had that extra torso print underneath the armor, so you can still have the figure separate from that. You have you have the boat captain, like I said before. Okay, yeah, you can have them separate from the boat the same way you did for the train guy. But every single one of these except for the popcorn had, the popcorn and the dragon did not have any accessories with them. But not only were they also costumes and they were like brand new molds for them, but they also had some different faces. They had different colors and things. So it was like, okay, a little bit of a trade off there. Like even the turkey, I'd say, it still had brand new parts, but also had a pumpkin. And that's something else to do with it out of the package. Let me go back to 22. That one had a bunch of costume figures as well, some brand new molds. It had this other Paralympic figure with it in the, I don't know what kind of bicycle that is, but it's cool there nonetheless. You had a couple of animals in here. You had a wolf, you had a small horse pony, you had the toucan. You had the little robot that you build with the other robot. You had one, two, let's there three. Maybe it was two. I guess it was two costume figures. So you have the ice skater. He has a trophy with him, even if he has the skates and the little stand to pose him. I've already been doing that for a while, and I get that they would shy away from it because they already did with a bunch of series, but could have still had one or two figures with that as well, right? In this series, who would it go with? The Harpy. Easy, because that's a figure that flies, so it gives them a feeling of flight and maneuvering, with their wings. That would work well. You could put that. You can't really put that with the Sprinter. I mean, you can still get them in a sprinting function out of it, but yeah. Usually thinking of that as being in midair. So I get that. Excuse me. Series 24. I'm going to go back to there. We have a couple of costume figures in there as well. So they have the carrot. You got the T-Rex. Okay, but yeah, every one of these has an accessory to go with the figure. Even the rocking horse, I think, is the only one that's it is and isn't an accessory, because yes, you have the figure riding on it, but also nothing else are really done with it. Some of these figures have animals with them, so or the space baby, obviously. The pottery was gave you a whole bunch of extra parts, even beyond what they show you here. It's like an additional bowl and cup, and you can still do stuff with that. That's great. The referee, you still have the value about the soccer ball, even if the yellow and red cards are just standard tiles. There's something to offer there. I still had my nitpicks about that series when I opened those packs, and who knows, maybe my opinions on these will change over time when the next series comes around. I like that we still have numerical collectible figure series, and they're not all licensed, because you still get some unique concepts in here that could be implemented to other things. So overall, I think these are still just missing the mark of being $5 values for the most part. There's some of them I may just be more picky about than others. I would still like to see another small accessory with it, printed or otherwise. But out of these, I'm glad I at least went through them and got to see about the QR thing, how accurate or how reliable that method is. Unfortunately, it's weird that some of these have the really small ones, because what am I going to do with that? What if I find more of these? And I'm reading the rest of this article. I'm skimming through it, They don't mention anything about the smaller QR codes. And the weight guide method, I never tried the weight method myself, so I don't know on the accuracy of that. I still would like to get the Fright Night. That is still one I would love to have. So that leaves me with the Fright Night, the Pet Groomer, the Gamer, the Goat Herder, and the Fitness Instructor. Those 5. Those are the last ones to complete the series. And I would love to have me another version of Basil. Because Fright Nights is something that LEGO's been hinting at for a while. Like, just dropping little references every so often, like in the Haunted House. It's fun. It's great. There was even a figure from one of the earlier series called the Fright Night, if I remember correctly. And it was literally like a ghost. And he has the same kind of shields and, yeah, same kind of depiction. Series 19, that's it. I like the ghostly look of him. And like the rusted armor look. It's cool. Anyways, I'm going to log off here. Got some other things to take care of this weekend. But thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. And I will I'll see you when I see you. I can't even say we'll see you next time with more LEGO videos because I don't know when the next LEGO videos are, and I don't know how frequently I'm going to do the next LEGO videos. As far as webcam testing, I'm still debating on if I should just exchange this for another one instead, or if it's something with my computer that's just screwing things, especially with the microphone. That was weird earlier and last night, so I don't know. Happy New Year, either way. And I'd still love to work on the recap video whenever I can. We shall see. And bye for now.